Hello Daniel, this is another response to one of your videos, and in this case we have to slightly disagree again. First of all, to answer a question you asked, and this is not the part that I'm mainly going to be asking you about, or replying to, whichever term you prefer. The reason people don't care about what happens in the Middle East, or in Africa, or wherever, people just don't care. It doesn't, people think it doesn't affect, because it doesn't directly affect them, they don't care. I agree on that point that people who don't care or think nothing happens, they're among the worst people, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. You've made a point regarding why people are afraid, suddenly say that we have to do something about guns and gun violence, but not necessarily about the other types. One of the items you mentioned was a knife. Or you stab someone to death, what's wrong with you? A knife is primarily used to cut food, or with some larger ones for cutting with equipment. You you beat someone to death. What is wrong with you? Your hands, your fists, sure they can be used as weapons, but they're used to hold things, and possibly with hitting things, but not all. So with that, maybe you ran over someone, you hit someone with your car. What is wrong with you? Cars, again, not their purpose is to get from one place to another. Some people use them for engineering practice or whatever, but that's continuing. And in the context of the Boston Marathon bombing, we use of a pressure cooker, and other such material used by their definition to cook. All those items have one thing in common, and that is they are not intended, they do not exist to be weapons. And in this case, when I refer to a weapon, I'm saying something that it has the primary purpose of killing someone or threatening to kill someone. And this can include with self-defense or with malicious intent. Either case exists. Guns are very different. Guns exist for that purpose. A gun exists to kill someone or threaten to kill someone, and again, it can be that it can be for self-defense. The only not other use of a gun that I can think of, which, and if you think of another, feel free to let me know, is when a gun is shot to mention someone is to say, okay, on your mark, get set, go, at the start of a race. Or another one that came to me as I was recording this, when the honor shots. Even with the idea of skeet shooting, it's still a form of shooting practice. The reason people try to say that guns need additional security or regulations, while I oppose the ban of guns, I do believe there needs to be significantly stricter security and background checks. It's because guns exist for the purpose of killing people. Anyone who argues that we should ban knives or pressure cookers or cars, it's stupid. It's a stupid argument because, first of all, slippery slope. The idea is, in a sense, it's a slippery slope in that, oh, you're banning this thing that's a weapon. I ban this other thing and this other thing and this other thing. I apologize for my not very professional camera. But the main problem is that a knife, a car, your fists, a pressure cooker, they can be used as weapons. Weaponized, if you prefer the term. A gun is the weapon. This is why people call specifically for additional security. Because it's something that's specifically used for a purpose that it specifically exists for the purpose of hurting people. Whether you submit to the idea that that the Second Amendment directly refers to if there's a government uprising, or there are some scholars, I read a few papers somewhere, some people believe that the original idea was to preserve slavery, but whether it's that, regardless of which of them it is, people don't call for a ban or regulation or security on knives because it's much less assumed that one would use that knife to hurt someone. One wouldn't, when one is buying a car, one wouldn't necessarily assume that it would be used to hurt someone. When one buys a gun, one would assume that one has the intent of hurting someone under a specific circumstance. And I do think that, at least for those who are qualified for the guns, that is to say, not criminals, mentally stable, and even with criminals, it's fine if it's petty theft or something small. I would think, but that's not the point I'm making. It shouldn't be assumed that they're going to use them with malicious intent. But there's still the knowledge that a gun would be used for that type of purpose. Let me know what you think. Reply, comment, put it on one of your videos as a reply for a reply. Ignore it if you feel like it. I just thought I would answer your question. Thank you for listening.